everyone, Joellen here, and welcome to Washed in Watercolor. For today's demonstration, I thought it'd be fun to capture the depth and atmosphere in a landscape painting. Here is a list of materials I'll be using for this demonstration. Start by taping the perimeter of my paper and then lightly sketching in the basic shapes of this landscape. Once I'm happy with my sketch, I'll wet my paints and clean off my paint from last week's demonstration. My plan is to start with a basic wet into wet wash, so I'll begin by liberally wetting my paper. I want my paper to have a nice sheen, but I don't want to see any puddles. I'll then pick up some neutral tint with a little bit of Windsor blue. I think this will be the perfect color for the sky. I'll carefully drop in the color and let the paint kind of do its own thing with the water, and I'll try not to overwork this or poke at it too much. I'll next pick up some lemon yellow and add it to the mid area of my painting. I'll follow this with a little bit of sap green. I do sense a little bit of red up in the hill, so I'll add a little bit of maroon perylene to the hill in the foreground, and then I'll add some quinacridone gold to the entire foreground that's closest to me. I'll add a few touches of violet to the hills in the back, and a little bit more gold to the foreground. When I'm happy with my base wash, I'll give it a dry. Using some neutral tint with some Windsor blue, I'm slowly going to build up the mountains. I'll start with the one way in the back on the left-hand side. I want to make sure that the bottom edge I keep nice and soft to give a little bit of atmosphere or a misty look. I want to avoid a hard edge at the bottom. Then I'll just give it a dry. I'll add a little bit more paint to my mixture along with a touch of perylene green. I want this next mountain to be a little darker, which will pull it a little closer to us. Add a touch of maroon perylene and Windsor violet to this mixture and add it to the wet paint. I want to keep that bottom edge soft, and I pulled out a little bit from the sky to give the illusion of a little bit of mist or a cloud up in the mountains. Once I'm happy, I'll give this a dry. Using that same mixture but adding a little bit of purple followed by a little bit of maroon perylene, I'll next paint the mountains closest to us. Again, I want to keep that edge nice and soft, and with a clean, damp brush, I'll pull out a little bit of paint for the clouds coming down from the sky. When I am happy, I'll give this a little bit of a dry. I'll next paint in the foreground. There are a few rocks that are kind of poking out of the foreground in darker areas. I do want to get the foreground a little bit darker. To me, the beauty of this whole piece is the atmosphere and the little bit of mist, the clouds, the mountain, and then also the valley. And I want to keep the valley a little bit lighter. So in order to create the illusion of depth, I need to get the foreground much darker. I'm adding a few touches of ultramarine blue into the rocks. Again, I will soften the bottom edge and give it a dry. I'll start to create the foreground with some sap green followed by some perylene green. This needs to be a darker value in order for the background to recede. I just want to indicate the grass and keep everything nice and soft. Once I'm happy with it, I'll give it a dry. Using a small brush, I'll dot in some of the trees in the background. Again, I want to keep a softer bottom edge, and I want to think about the flow of the topography of the hills and kind of follow the diagonals and the patterns that I'm seeing in the landscape. I'm adding a little bit of cobalt teal to the flatter plane in the valley. I'll add a little bit of burnt sienna to the areas in between the teal, and I'll just let the paint do its own thing and flow together. I'll continue to work all of the trees and the formation of this mid-ground area. I want to be sure to leave some little bits unpainted so there's a little bit of sparkle in this area. Once I'm happy with how it looks, I'll give it a dry. Once again, I'm going to darken the foreground. I'm going to add a little bit of quinacridone gold, and I'll just follow that with some green, and then I'll let the paints somewhat mix together. I want to get the foreground fairly dark because really the main focus is going to be on the valley, and I need to create that depth. Now that the foreground is fairly dark, I'll have to add some touches of dark values to the midground area in order to balance it. This time I'll just kind of jump all over the place and add little touches as needed. Okay, let's just give it a sign and take off the tape. I hope you enjoyed this demonstration and you give it a try at home. If you like this content and would like to see more, please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.